All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, who will survive and advance from the field of four in regards to the college football playoff as the proceedings are set to go down this Saturday? And it all starts with the Fiesta Bowl. We're going to start talking about the Fiesta Bowl first. You got TCU, the third ranked team in this field of four. Not the champions of the Big 12. They went undefeated in the regular season. Yes, but you know what? They lost to K State in a rematch in the conference championship game, but the Horned Frogs still were able to qualify for this quartet, and they're looking to make the most of their opportunity. Of course, first trip for TCU to the college football playoff, and it's been a dream season under first year head coach Sonny Dykes. But of course, the big question is going to be, will TCU be able to get back on track? They're facing a Michigan team that they're a 7.5 point underdog against. And of course, one of the big questions is going to be, how will this TCU offense fare against this Michigan defense? You go back and you look at the Big 12 championship game, and K State really put some pressure on TCU quarterback Max Duggan. So, what type of adjustments are Sonny Dykes and company going to be able to make in this game? I think the biggest thing that TCU needs to do, they need to go back to their running game. Kendre Miller is a very explosive running back. And this side of Bijan Robinson, probably the best ball carrier in the Big 12 conference. And I feel like sometimes TCU just tries to focus too much on having Max Duggan throw the ball and do everything. And that one dimensional aspect makes it easier for opposing defenses covering them. Quentin Johnson is a stellar wide receiver, but how's he going to navigate against this Michigan defense? We got to wait and see. Now, on the flip side for Michigan, they are making their second consecutive appearance in the college football playoff. We saw the Wolverines enter last year's playoff with a ton of momentum, only to get steamrolled in the semis by Georgia. Now, I talked about this Michigan defense, third ranked defense in the nation, led by linebacker Junior Colson. And I guarantee you, he's going to get very familiar with both Kendre Miller and Max Duggan in this game. JJ McCarthy at quarterback. This guy is a gamer. He's gotten better as the years progressed, and he's the real deal. Probably and arguably the best quarterback that Jim Harbaugh has had since taking over at Michigan. Now, no Blake Corum at running back. We know that for Michigan, but Donovan Edwards has really stepped up and he's in his place. And one thing you know about Michigan under Jim Harbaugh, they're going to be physical at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to run that ball. Again, I think the biggest thing is it's going to come down to this TCU offense versus this Michigan defense, and how fast is the track going to be out there at Glendale for this one. Sonny Dykes has had a great season, but I think he's going to run into it in this contest. And because of that, I'm going to take Michigan to advance to the championship game by the score of 34-24. Now, down in the ATL on Saturday night at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, you're going to have the fourth-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, again, another team that did not win their conference, taking on the defending national champions in the Georgia Bulldogs and the top-ranked team in this tournament. Georgia comes into this contest favored by 6.5 points. And you look at this, the Dogs are on a mission because they're looking to repeat as national champions. And the scary thing about it, Georgia is not as talented this year as they were last year, but they are still a force to be reckoned with. You look at this offense right now for the Dogs, led by Stetson Bennett. They've opened it up more. You've had to replace a lot on defense, but this is still a very dangerous team. And with that said, speaking of that Georgia defense, how will Ohio State's offense fare against that Georgia defense? No Jackson Smith and Jengba, of course, he really hasn't been there for the majority of the year. Travion Henderson is not going to be there as well in regards to carrying the ball for Ohio State. So it's going to be more in Mayan Williams. But this is going to be the most hostile environment that Ohio State has played in all year long. And I say that because they're tough. Their biggest road test so far this year was going on the road against Penn State, and they survived it. But this is a scenario, yeah, it's supposed to be a neutral site, but Athens is not that far from Atlanta, and Atlanta is basically a home away from home, if you will, for Georgia. And I think they definitely want to use that to their advantage. CJ Stroud is definitely going to be a top 5 pick in next spring's NFL draft. What is he going to do to culminate his collegiate career here? We got to wait and see. There's still plenty of talent on offense for Ohio State, which includes Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka at wide receiver. And it's going to be important for this Ohio State offensive line to give CJ Stroud the time that he needs, because I say that because yes, Ohio State is the underdog in this game, but they still went 11-1 during the regular season. On top of that, you have a scenario. You go back to last year's SEC championship game when Alabama beat Georgia, and it was all about the speed of the Alabama wide receivers. And I know a lot of things changed in the rematch between Georgia and Alabama in the title game. Both of Alabama's top wide receivers got hurt. But the bottom line is it was the speed of the Alabama wide receivers, and it was the ability of the Alabama offense to roll the pocket for their quarterback, Bryce Young, in order to go out there and make the plays downfield. It's going to be very imperative for Ryan Day and company to do the same thing in order to give CJ Stroud an opportunity. There's talent there at the receiver position for Ohio State, but you got to give them an opportunity to get downfield. Tommy Eichenberg has had a tremendous season at linebacker for the Buckeyes. What type of impact is he going to have in this game? 32 team sacks for Ohio State. How are they going to try to slow down Stetson Bennett? You think about Georgia under Kirby Smart, you think about their ability to run the ball, but they can air it out. And Lad McConkey is a guy that, you know what, if you sleep on him, he's going to burn you. And then these Ohio State linebackers and safeties, they have to worry about tight end Brock Bowers as well. You got Kenny McIntosh and Dejon Edwards coming in out of that backfield as dangerous backs for Georgia as they're looking to add to that running back legacy. You look at it, Kirby Smart versus Ryan Day. And of course, Kirby Smart has shown, in my opinion, that he is a better big game coach than Ryan Day is. Will that change in this contest? We have to wait and see. I think it's going to be very important for Ohio State to score early in this one. Put the pressure on Georgia, and more importantly, take some of that crowd out of the game. You go back to the beginning of the regular season. Oregon played Georgia on this very field here. And before you blinked, it was done for Oregon. Ohio State has to find a way to avoid that tidal wave, if you will. The Buckeyes will be game, but at the end of the day, Georgia is the better team. They're on a mission. And because of that, I'm going to take the Dogs to advance to the national championship game with the 37-31 victory. So, folks, those are my picks for both semifinal games in the college football playoff. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.